Whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
Happy Halloween! Happy Halloween. Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. I know last year, I remember, what was I wearing last year? I think I was from Run DMC last year. And I wore my hat and my glasses. This year, though, Kim, I'm just a cool mom. I'm wearing my cool mom sweatshirt because I'm not a real mom. I'm a cool mom.
This is not a costume because it's true.
Ah, very true.
You are you're much cooler than I am.
Oh, stop.
Which is
I'm not even close.
It's really annoying how cool you are.
I am not cool, but I'm freaking cold. That's for damn sure. It is a chilly Halloween. I walked my son to school with my husband to school today because
that's cute.
The costume in which we made is too big to fit in my car.
Oh,
so
my God. You have to show a
so
picture.
big. Okay. So my son, I think I told you guys that he was going to be a traffic cone. And now...
I mean, how big is a traffic cone?
I mean, when you make it a life size... Okay, here we go. So this is him. It's so funny. So we were walking and I was like, we have to take him with his cousins. So here's one with his tiny cousin. So there's Dylan.
Oh, look at that.
I know. And then there he is. With
That's
his other
really
cousins.
funny. It's very cute.
And so there's a mesh so he can see through it. It's light. We got like these foam tubes, kind of like pool noodles from Home Depot or whatever. And then like we created this whole structure of it. It started getting a little lopsided because he kept like getting into it, and so we'll see how long he makes it today at school. He wanted the problem was he wanted armholes, and you would have thought that this was a Picasso the way my husband and I were arguing with him about how he cannot get armholes because it's going to ruin the integrity of the costume. Like,
how is he supposed to do what he needs to do at school?
Well, take it off. You can't wear it. Like, so how it works at my son's school is, and I don't know how they do it at your kid's school, but the first period, the class votes. I'm assuming it's like, I don't know what period it is, like what class it is, but everyone votes on who should be part of the parade. Okay. And if you're part of the parade, then you could possibly win the costume contest.
Got it. Okay.
So we'll see if he even makes it into the parade. I would hope he would. I think they choose like 4 kids or 5 kids from each classroom to be part of the parade. So I would assume he has a good shot at it, but...
So at Jacob's school, the entire school is in the parade. Everybody.
Okay. Well, that's how it was in elementary school. Like,
well,
but there
he's
wasn't...
still in 4th grade.
Yeah, exactly. No hurt feelings.
He was a Jedi today because his Grim Reaper costume has a mask, and you can't take weaponry or masks to school.
Yeah.
You can't wear a mask like it covers your face, which is kind of, the whole purpose of the Grim Reaper costume. Right. It has these red glowing eyes and this mask.
It's going to be scary tonight. It'll be perfect for tonight.
So he's a Jedi. And the only pictures I have all the other kids in the parade in them. And there's this whole thing where you're not supposed to show other people's children without their permission.
Oh, that's true.
It's the mom rule. It's the mom social media rule, right? So,
well, I have failed that many times, but most of the time they want me to show them. Normally the kids know that I'm taking a picture of them, but Randy says all that voting in the parade doesn't sound very inclusive. Now, there's a costume contest. Not everybody can win, right? Now at the elementary school, what it was the whole school, anybody that dressed up and wanted to, would walk in a circle. And it's funny, in elementary school, my kids were not allowed to dress up on Halloween. They were only allowed to dress up for the Halloween party that was on a weekend. And so then everybody that showed up walked around the whole entire field, and then there'd be judges, and they'd have these little slips of paper. And if you got a slip of paper, then you can go on stage and kind of compete for the costume contest.
Interesting. They take it seriously.
So yeah, but then this one, the class gets to vote. So I guess it's a little more student focused. So that's cool. As for my daughter, Princess Peach from Super Mario, again, freezing. Her costume is, she has like the white gloves and the knee socks, the white socks. And I was supposed to get her like thick nylon, you know what I mean, to cover her legs, but I didn't get it yet. So she's wearing sweats and a pink t-shirt. And so she's wearing the pink t-shirt, gray sweats, because of course, and then so she's just really wearing the crown, which is like this little sticky uppy crown, which she actually looks pretty cute. And so at least she wore that much. I didn't get a picture of her though, because she was like carrying everything.
Yeah, Julia didn't dress up. It's not
at all
cool for high school girls. No,
I know, but I'm like, this is what upsets me about Halloween, and like as they get older, is one, I think being a teenager at Halloween is so much fun because your parents give you way more rope, right? Like, go have fun, go trick out. My kids go trick or treating, although some of them are coming back here to watch a movie this evening. But like, go have fun. And I tell my daughter, I'm like, you're only a kid for such a short period of time. Don't give it up now. Don't let being cool stop you from doing the fun things that, although I will say, I know a lot of fun adults that love to get all decked out for Halloween. And a lot of people were going to Halloween parties this past weekend. It was my father-in-law's birthday this weekend. And so, and a bunch of Scorpios in my family. So we went out to dinner and we didn't do any sort of Halloween-y themes, but I just love it. I absolutely love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays.
What are you doing tonight?
So tonight I am going to my parents' house and helping give out candy. It goes very quickly because one, I'm not going back to the store. I think a couple years ago, we ended up going back to the store to get more candy. I'm not doing that this year because my daughter wants to have some friends over to watch a scary movie. And so I was like, that's fine. And you got to love these kids, Kim. She looks at me with a straight face and says, while you're at grandma's giving out candy, I'm going to come back here with my friends and watch a movie.
No.
And I'm like, no. But it was the way
that's a nice try.
Said it, the way in which she said it was like there'd be no question. And I was like, I'm not letting you have a party in my house when I'm not home. I don't care if I'm a mile away. It's not happening.
That's
and
funny.
So, and then it became, it's going to be me and like two of her girlfriends to like 10 kids. I'm like, we're not having a party, and you are going to school tomorrow. So let's not get it twisted. You're definitely going to school. So that's going to happen tomorrow. But tonight, movie watching, eating way too much candy. Oh my, can I show you this picture though? So speaking of, and we're going to get to the Halloween scare, which is kind of crappy because I always laugh at people that say, check the Halloween bag for drugs. I'm like, nobody's giving free drugs out. Well, apparently some people were giving free drugs out, but look at this. Look at the tragedy that I found after I took Marley to school this morning. That, my friends, is a container that I've had hidden for 2 days of the soft, like Lucky's cookies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the sugar cookies with the frosting on them.
I've hidden this container for 2 days because I was like, nope, we're gonna have them. And I let the kids, like today, I don't care. Like you can have sweets from morning, noon, and night. I don't care. And
did someone just eat them and discard it on the floor?
Somebody. Could it be a dog that hopped up on my freaking counter and ate all of my cookies? I didn't even get one. Thank God I got 2 out for Marley and her friend for school. They're the only ones that got the soft cookies. And you know why I bought them 2 days ago? Is because you know what? I'm not going to be able to probably find these in the grocery store today. Today, no. And Dylan loves the soft cookies and he didn't even get one. So I kind of feel bad. But Nugget, freaking dog, hopped up there.
If it makes you feel any better, Charlotte ate an entire loaf. A $10 loaf of bread, because that's how much bread costs now.
No.
A big loaf of sourdough bread. The whole thing gone.
Sucks. Yeah, these freaking dogs. And they're like sharks. I was watching them last night because we had eaten dinner, but we were still cleaning up. And I see Nugget just like, doing the shark around the table. Like, when can I jump up on the chair to get the mashed potatoes or whatever was still on the table? And I'm like, you dog. You freaking dog. But yeah, so that was Nugget's sweet treat for Halloween. He got that today. But yes, if you haven't guessed, this is what was found inside a child's Halloween bag. I'm going to play you a little of a report from KTVU because again, most of the time when people tell these stories, I'm like, that's not happening. Nobody is giving free drugs. But apparently, 4 4 children are getting free drugs. Here's a report from KTVU. Speak.
Well, Mike, I spoke with the police chief, and he says that these candies are small and square, kind of like one of those Starburst.
It's now and later
chews.
they're looking for.
And we've learned
look like
tonight from the school district that now a total of 4 families found this cannabis product mixed in with their children's candy.
I think none of us expected that something like this could happen.
It was a Halloween scare that Beth Malloy and other parents never expected at the Amelia Earhart Elementary School's trunk or treat on Sunday.
It was a great event. Everyone had a good time. There were lots of family volunteers handing out candy from their trunks.
But early Monday morning, the school learned that one child became sick after eating what they thought was a regular piece of candy.
A student who attended the event didn't feel well yesterday. The parents checked the candy that the student had received at the event and found the wrapper, which says right on it that it's cannabis infused.
The school and the Alameda district immediately put out email alerts and phone calls to all parents with photos of the product.
All right. So what do you think happened here?
It's
elementary school. Yeah, it's elementary school. Okay, I'm going to put to the side, for instance, the debate over trunk or treat, which is just kind of odd to me. But do you think that this was an accident? Do you think that somebody actually, this is parents that make a concerted effort to park their car, lift their trunk, and give out candy to kids. It's not a random, I'm stoned at my house, you knocked on my door, and I looked around to what I could put in your bag. This seemed deliberate. Right? I mean, I can't imagine unless like you just keep cannabis chews in your trunk to accidentally fall into the bowl of candy you're giving out, right? I mean, I don't know how something like this happens. But now I gotta friggin' check the bag even closer than I do now. Now I'm just like, I tell Marley, I'm like, you eat candy that looks like candy you've eaten before. Like if it's Skittles, oh, I don't know. You're not supposed to eat Skittles anymore, right? Reese's Pieces, peanut butter cups, or whatever, right? Yeah, hold on. Sandy says, dispensary edibles are very expensive. I find it hard to believe that anyone would intentionally give them to kids. That's what I thought.
Got in there on accident.
But how do you, again, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to poison. And these are elementary. I could understand. I would even probably sadly blame it on the kid if it was a high school event, right? Like some high schoolers trying to be funny and give it to kids, which is wrong. You should not do. But an elementary school trunk or treat. Have you done trunk or treat, by the way, Kim?
No, the only trunk or treat I've heard of is at the local Mormon church.
Oh no, it's
so
such a
I
thing
thought it was
now.
I thought it was a religious thing.
No, it's not a religious thing. It's so sports teams, my friend's son and daughter are part of sports teams. They do that. My daughter, when she was in cheerleading, they did it after practice one day where you kind of, parents can go early. Some of them decorate their cars, right? Like Halloween themed or whatever. And then they pop their trunk and the kids take their bag and they walk around and get candy. This is the reason why I don't particularly like it. They're going to get pounds of candy tonight. If they don't even get any at school, right? Like they're I'm sure school and some schools have parties where they're getting candy. I don't understand the point of another thing that parents have to do to give kids even more sugar. But I tell you what I won't do. I was talking to a colleague in San Francisco yesterday. I will not name check him, but it is a him. He's really a nice guy and he's really funny. And he looks at me and he says, this is the first year that my wife and I have decided not to give out candy. We are going to give out apples, oranges, and grapes. And I'm like, well, those are going to get thrown right back at your house.
Might as well give out toilet paper and eggs, pal. I mean, really.
You guys let me know in the comments. Do any of you do this? Like, I'm the toothbrush house or I'm the fruit house. I'd rather be the full-size candy bar house than ever be the cutie oranges house. Does that make sense? If I want a cuties orange on Halloween, I'll get it from my fridge, right? Like,
right.
Is there, and his reasoning for this was they get so much candy that this is an option. And I'm saying, then just don't give anything. Or I gave him better ideas, and he's probably going to do this next year. I was like, give glow sticks. Or if you want to do some sort of food, give like fruit leather, 100% fruit leathers. Because kids like those. It's kind of gummy and chewy, but it's not a piece of fruit. And he's like, I'm giving apples. I'm like, apples? I was like, when they throw that back at your house, it could cause some damage.
That's hard. Those are hard. Yeah.
Not that I think the kids should do that or that it'll even happen.
No,
but come on, it's Halloween.
Might as well just turn the porch light off and pretend you're not home.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And he's right about the candy, though. I mean, there's a lot of candy.
Of course, but you don't have to give your kid like my kids can eat as much candy pretty much from now until the weekend, like whatever the candy bowl, and then I just honestly I either put it away and they forget about it, or I toss it. I mean, we've gone through what we want to keep. We keep some probably for the holidays, like have a candy bowl or whatever. But I'm not one to deprive because I subscribe to the belief that if it's available all of the time, they don't hoard it to hide it because they're going to have it taken away.
As a matter
it's just
of
there.
Fact, that one year that, they made themselves sick, they never will do it again.
Right. It's like you have to teach self-control. Sandy has a good point. When I got apples for Halloween, I wasn't allowed to eat them because back then there was an urban legend about razor blades and apples. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Vilma's like toothpaste and toothbrush. What kid wants that? It's practical, but no fun. I mean, dentist. I could see if I was the neighborhood dentist and everyone knew that I was the dentist, but they ship the candy to the military, the troops. You could do that. You could turn it in for money. I know some dentists give money per pound or whatever. Like, if you don't want to give out candy, there is nothing that says you have to participate. But Halloween is about giving sweet treats. That's what it is. That is how we do this.
There's a dentist on D Street in Petaluma,
right?
Which is a big, huge, like Halloween street.
Right.
And he doesn't live there anymore. But when he lived there, he decorated his kind of hacienda-looking home, and the whole place, the whole town calls it Cavity Cove. The house is now known by the name Cavity Cove. So when you say, where do you turn? Turn at Cavity Cove. Even if it's not Halloween, you just call that house Cavity Cove. And he used to give out toothbrushes and toothpaste because he's the local dentist at Cavity Cove. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Someone else lives there now and they give out full-size candy, but it's still Cavity Cove.
Yeah, exactly. And again, never eat food products that were collected from other people's homes. The only time I would let my kid eat like a homemade treat is at a school party that I knew the parent that brought it in, right? Like we're all bringing treats like brownies or whatever and standing there. So if it was bad, we would know.
Even or candy, Vilma? I wonder if she means candy too. I don't know.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, if my kid went to a house, a rando house, and somebody was giving out homemade brownies, no, we're tossing that.
No. Or even people that bag popcorn.
Yeah, no, we're not doing
that.
No.
If it's not a sealed, store-bought, heavily processed
there's poison
thing.
in it, but I'm not saying exactly like I need it full sugar by the manufacturer.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like you don't know. There's always this meme going around like you can't eat at everybody's house because they're gross, right? Like they don't wash their hands or their food is disgusting. That's the same thing. It's like it might not be poisonous, but it still might not be hygienic or be cooked in a hygienic way. And I don't need food poisoning around the holidays because this is also the official start of like the going into the big holidays, right? Thanksgiving's around the corner, Christmas is around the corner. And so, yeah, it's, I don't need to be getting sick. We already have COVID, RSV, and the flu floating around. I don't need to have anything else. Harry says, I loved my old San Mateo neighborhood during Halloween. Some of the houses had Jell-O shots for the adults. Oh, that's my parents' neighborhood. There's a house on the corner that does it up. I'll take pictures and because I want to see it all done up. I will try to give you guys an idea of how many people. I think I tried to do it last year, but my phone, I need to keep moving, as Jefferson Graham says. But there's a one house right on the corner that draws everybody in, and they have an adult line and they have a kid line. And it was hella funny because all the kids thought I was cutting, and I'm like, I'm going to the adult line. I was like, and there was like shots of, Fireball or whatever at the end of it. So yeah, definitely doing that. Eric says it's sad. I sometimes wonder if all the horror stories about poison food or razor blades got started by candy companies pushing for more sales. That'd be genius. I mean, yeah, it's there. Like everyone's ignoring all the terrible facts about sugar and cavities and diabetes and all that kind of stuff, but you don't want a razor blade inside your apple. My mom, so SJ Lowe says, my mom and her friends would drink while they accompanied us as grade schoolers while trick-or-treating.
Yeah, have wine, will travel. Yeah.
Nobody that is carrying a cup has coffee in it. Nobody's drinking coffee at 9 o'clock at night out of their Stanley cup. Like that's
but
not
tonight
happening.
it's so cold. We might have a little hot toddy in there.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. I want to make something. So my mom always makes chili, right? She makes some. So she always invites us over and we have some chili. Oh, Harry, thanks for the treat. A $5 donation to our
Happy
super
Halloween,
chat.
Harry.
Thank you. Yeah. So my mom's gonna make chili, so we'll have that. I think I'm gonna go back to the grocery store after the show, try to get some more soft cookies because my poor son, he was drooling. He went with me to the grocery store 2 days ago to get them, and I was like, you can't open them. I totally tortured my kid. I'm like, they're for Halloween. And I was like, I wanted to get him so that I would be sure to have him. And so he's going to be so disappointed, but whatever. But yes, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to make something cute. There's cute little crescent roll mummy things. I might make something like that. But every time I put effort into food for my friggin' kids, it always is a bust. So I'm like, I need to make something though. Something more than chili to warm us up.
So I'm going to this party. It's a gathering near D Street where people, you gather around the fire pit. There's chili, to have for dinner. And then again, it's a huge, huge Halloween area. So they go through like thousands of pieces of candy, bags and bags and bags.
Right.
So I said, can I bring anything? And the woman said, price of admission, a bag of candy. We go through it so fast.
Yes, that's a great idea.
So I bought this big old bag of candy and I was going to bring it. And then I realized someone opened it. My husband opened it.
He started eating it?
He took a few things out of it. But, it's still relatively full. Do you think it's rude to bring an open bag of candy?
You blame your husband. You're like, oh, there's a couple pieces missing because a guy over here couldn't wait till actual Halloween to start eating the candy. That's it. And then you dump it in the bowl. I'm sure she's going to open it up right in front of you and dump it in the bowl that they're giving out candy in. They're all individually wrapped candies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, screw that. Bring it. Don't show up empty-handed, woman. If they told you to bring candy, you better bring the candy.
Like, really? You had to open it? Now I'm embarrassed.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. Stop. I don't know if people at KCBS are in costume today. I don't know. Oh, I love that background. Let's keep that up. That's great. Okay. I hope so. I don't know. There was a costume contest happening, and it's so funny. Like they look at me like, why can't you come up? There's many reasons why I can't come up every day. But I was like, Halloween, I am still in the thick of needing to be here from the morning to the night, bringing stuff to the school later on, helping with the costume, having to get Dylan into it. No, Halloween is a day that no working. I mean, this, but not that. Now, somebody else was asking, we'll get to some headlines in just a minute. How was the Medoro Mule at Jack's? I do have some pictures. Can I just say, this is the best bar. And I'm not just saying that because I now know Lori and Mark intimately. It is the funnest bar, I'm telling you, ever. So this is the picture that I wanted to take. This is me across the street after we were dropped off by our taxi. We took Caltrain up there. We took the Baby Bullet, which was like an hour, which was perfect. And then it was so fun. I had to take this picture because I was so stoked to just see it. And that's me, and that's Lori, and that's my husband, and that's Mark behind me.
Cute.
This bar is the best dive bar, I am telling you. And that's me and Lori behind the bar. She is so much fun. They both are. Kim, have you met them?
No, not in person.
We have to go. They honestly, I will tell you this, and I'm not blowing smoke. The minute I walked into the bar and saw Lori, I swear we hugged like we were long lost relatives. I'm not even kidding. I adore her and Mark, but the community that we form here, it just kind of gets me all misty. It was just really sweet. And it's like we were instant friends. I'm not even kidding. It was not, they were really cute. Hold on. I thought I uploaded all of my pictures. Hold on. I have other pictures. Because it was so, hold on, let me see. Okay. So they did this, which was really, really cute. So there's a window right in the front where the Red Jack Saloon sign is. And so there's a table right there. And so, of course, they gave me the prime table.
Oh, look at you.
I know. So they have the adorable table. That's the box. Now, somebody I think emailed me or put in the comments yesterday because I was looking at the show. Sasha, who won the box, was having some sort of health issue. And so she was not able to come. And so Lori was going to reschedule, but then I'd already announced that I was going to be there. Renee, who came out that's a listener of the show. Hello, Renee. Thank you for coming out. And so I wasn't able to give it to Sasha, but I was able to give it to Lori. And we opened it up and looked at everything again. And it was so much fun. Also, can I just say, Lori does the drinks for us. We know that, right? With the Medoro Mule and the martini. We've shown this sign before. But that's not like you come out of the bathroom of this place and they have so many different things that they're raising money for. Let me find the other picture because there's one more picture that I wanted to show you. And it's like right when you come right out of the bathroom, which are clean, like the bar is so much fun. Oh, and it's also not a Redskins bar. Somebody that was a Redskins fan had gone there before, and she clarified it's not like they had a little corner for them, but it's not. It's just really funny. Okay. But so they're raising, men's clothing drives and things like that. Like they're just a really part of the community.
Yep.
They're not far from like the pier. So they're a couple blocks in the prime location. I am telling you guys, if you are in San Francisco for Fleet Week or anything, not SantaCon though. We are having this whole conversation about events that they do not allow you in. If you are dressed as a Santa on SantaCon,
really? That's it?
No, you will not be allowed in. And not only that, even if like you're maintaining because it's a drunken fest, they won't allow you because they're like, it's like zombies. One other Santa will see you and want to come in the bar. Oh. And so it's a zero tolerance for SantaCon.
Is it because the Santa people misbehave?
Yes. It's just way too much. It's way too much. But anybody else can come. But yeah, I'm just telling you, this is the bar you want to go to. It's not pretentious. You don't have to wear a collar. You know what I mean? Like it's a dive bar, but it's the cheap drinks, friendly bartenders. And I'm telling you, they have tons of TVs, games.
When you say dive bar, I think of like Scuzzy.
I go to dive bars. That's the only kind of bar I like to go to. Honestly, I don't like nightclubs. I don't like hoity-toity bars where there's a line out to the back to get a drink. I don't like that. I don't like screaming over people, can't have a conversation. I think when I say dive bar, I think of like Cheers. I think of walking in, people say hello, you're able to get a seat, you're able to have a conversation. The drinks aren't expensive, right? They're reasonably priced. That's what I mean when I say dive bar. It's a neighborhood bar. And that's what the Red Jack Saloon is. I'm totally going to do a commercial for them because it's really, really, and it's on Bay Street. So just look it up, Red Jack Saloon. It's awesome. And honestly, they do live above the bar. They've been doing it for so long. They have a great love story. Like they're just great people. And I was just honored to be able to drop the ball. And I'm glad it worked out where it was there where I was dropping it off. Right. Like I was really, really happy to do that. And yeah, so go see Lori and Mark, Red Jack Saloon, and tell them Nikki sent you because that's going to be fun. One more Halloween story, which is really funny because I was just saying how much I love Halloween. I don't know if I love it enough to get married on it, but apparently Contra Costa County does scaremonies today. 18 couples are getting married today. No white dresses, all in costume, right? I don't know if because people get married on like New Year's, maybe Christmas, although that's a little much. But New Year's weddings, those sorts of Valentine's Day, things like that. I think it's pretty awesome to get married on Halloween. I don't know if I would necessarily do it, but yeah. So that's happening in Contra Costa County. I don't know if any of you are invited to that, but
there's always it fits somebody's personality, right?
Yeah. Oh, look at this dog. Look at this dog. Trying to say sorry. He's on my lap right now, trying to say sorry for eating all of my Halloween costume.
Ate your cookies.
You ate my cookies, Nugget. Don't wag your. He's the cutest dog ever. I didn't get him a costume, unfortunately. I was gonna make him a ghost, so then he would be. Say hello, Nugget. Say hello. There he is. Hello. Get. Oh, probably on a sugar high of eating 8 different cookies. But anyways, yeah. So that's our Halloween. If you guys have any pictures, send them on in. If you email them to me, I'll keep my email open. I know it's a little late, but send them to me anyway, and we'll kind of do a recap tomorrow of people's Halloween costumes. I want to see haunted houses. I want to see all those sorts of things. So send them in to me. Let me do some business before we get to the headlines. All right. So here's the email. If you want to email me your pictures, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. Also, while I have you guys, click the thumbs up button to show the support of the show. YouTube gives us more, I don't know, eyeballs if we click a thumbs up every single show, and it's free and it's easy and we absolutely love it. The super chat is live, so be like Harry. Harry gave us our little treat for this Halloween with a $5 donation to the super chat. And to do that, just look for the $sign under the live chat box where you guys are all commenting, and we appreciate that as well. And then say it with me, people. The number one way you can support the show is by becoming a monthly Patreon subscriber. And it's the guaranteed money we get, Kim, myself, every month, and it's just one time a month. So if you could do $1 a day, that would be awesome. Or if whatever you can afford would be great. And just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link is right there, and you can sign up. And when you do, you are an official Medorable. PayPal, that's the PayPal link, or just email when you go to paypal.com and hit send. The email address is the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. We have a merch shop, the NikkiMedoroShop.com. And yeah, we just appreciate all of our Medorables and everybody that participates in the chat every single day, because we really do appreciate it so very much. Okay, let's do some headlines. When we come back, we'll talk about a bunch of things. President Biden, I don't know if Kim is going to have this in the news. He wants more AI safeguards. Apparently, there's another scary kind of story coming out with AI and protecting our children that we'll try to touch on as well. We have that and so much more coming up. But first, some headlines with Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Israel says it is intensifying its expanding ground invasion into the Gaza Strip. This comes as fighting between Israel and Hamas stretches past the 3-week mark. More than 9,000 people reportedly killed in total on both sides of this conflict since Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. Protesters are interrupting a congressional hearing to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Secretary of State Antony Blinken interrupted several times during his opening statement before the Senate Appropriations Committee. Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin testifying before the committee in support of the Biden administration's request for $105 billion to support Israel, Ukraine, and other security priorities as well. The Supreme Court is set to hear a case today centering around when a government official can block access to their social media. At issue, when a government official uses social media in an official capacity and in a personal capacity. It's different, right?
Yeah. So this is like, there was a guy that had been using some sort of emojis. I will say this, and of course I'm not on, the high court or whatever. If you are a public official, and I mean a politician, someone that's making laws, those sorts of things, you should have kind of like what the White House has, like an official White House Twitter account or Facebook page. And whatever comes out of that is the official statement from the head person in charge, right? If you want to have a personal account, it should be duly stated. It should be clearly stated on the actual social, like these are my views. This is my personal page, those sorts of things. Because if you blend the two, and I'm telling you, the personal page should have no politics. Like, you shouldn't be promoting anything. You shouldn't be promoting any bills or anything. It should be, cat pictures and Halloween costumes. That's what I think.
Yeah, well, the Supreme Court will decide if blocking other users from seeing their posts amounts to a violation of the First Amendment right to free speech.
I mean, I swear, I love the First Amendment right to free speech. I'm not saying that, but people it's as if it's the end all be all. I can say, look what's happening right now between Israel and Hamas, and then what's happening on college campuses around the United States, where people are saying the most anti-Semitic things to other students under the umbrella of free speech. And I don't understand, there is a line, people, where it becomes harassment, where it becomes dangerous. Yep. There needs to be rules. And other countries don't have these problems because they don't have the First Amendment. Now, I like the First Amendment. Obviously, my career is very much
based on the First Amendment.
First Amendment. But at the same time, that does not give you the right to harass, threaten, be absolutely terrible to other people with no consequence. So just stop. And it has more to do with what you say against the government, by the way. It doesn't mean you could be an a-hole to everybody walking down the street.
Do you know some of those Facebook pages where you may post something, but it doesn't appear on the page? They have to approve it and look at it before.
Yeah. Authorize it or whatever. Yeah.
If you're a politician, do you think that should be allowed? Or it should just automatically show up on the page because you're a politician and this is free speech and this is a public page and it's part of a community. You know,
If
this
it
person
is your-
represents you and your opinion and blah, blah, blah.
I think this. Okay. Now, and I don't know if this is going to be allowed by the high court, but I do think that if it's your official political page, no authorization. Like people can just kind of spam you with hate. But if it's your personal page, and there needs to be too, I am allowed to be a person, a citizen with the same rights and protections as anybody else.
Yeah.
This is my private page. But then also, you have to put in the safeguards. Look, if somebody wants to write something to me on my personal Facebook page and post it to my page, I have to authorize it before it shows up.
Right.
That's on my personal page. So if I was a politician, why would I not do the same thing? Right. I would understand that people are going to want to reach me. I have my official social media page. You can reach me through there. But there's no right for you to come into my home. I'm a politician. You got to come into my home? No, this is my home, right? So that's how I see it. I don't know if that's how the court's going to see it, though.
It'll be an interesting case to watch.
Yeah.
Another case going on, the criminal fraud trial of Sam Bankman-Fried starts to wrap up. The former crypto billionaire, though, he's going to take the stand for one last time.
He's an idiot.
The former CEO accused of fraud after the exchange and its associated trading firm collapsed late last year. The FTX founder has pleaded not guilty to charges that could land him in prison for the rest of his life if he's fully convicted.
Yes, a lot of people lost a lot of money. I'm sorry. Like, you can't just say, oh, I didn't know. No, stop. You're a genius till you're not one anymore, right? Give me a break.
The wildfires on Maui having a noticeable impact on tourism across Hawaii. Jack Richards is the president and CEO of Pleasant Holidays, says the tourism was up 16.5% heading into 2024 before the wildfires in August, and it's now trending down across all the islands, not just Maui.
That's interesting. I have not looked because right now towards the end of the year, I'm not thinking Hawaii. I'm thinking, family get-togethers and things like that. I don't know if you have. Have you, kind of looked and seen what the prices are for some of the places that you like to go to?
It's low. It's low.
It is low. And so I kind of get why people, this might be the time. You know what I mean? If you've ever wanted to spend, I don't know, Christmas in Hawaii, and I'm not even saying Maui, but Maui, it might be my genius idea because you'll definitely be able to go for a hell of a lot cheaper. So I don't know.
In a cruel twist of fate, a Bronx man who has miraculously survived a stray gunshot wound to his abdomen 58 years ago is dead, shot in the abdomen. This at random again in the exact same spot.
Final Destination.
I'm telling you. In late November of 1970, Darren Joseph was critically wounded after he was hit in the abdomen by stray gunfire while watching TV with his mother. He survived, but doctors had to rearrange his organs to do it.
Ooh.
Now, today, Friday, less than a mile away from the old home, police on mopeds people on mopeds, rather, not police, people, random people on mopeds open fire with no known motive at this time, ending his life. His sister telling the New York Daily News his old gunshot wounds probably made it impossible to save him from the new ones.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That is, no. And it's, again, just like you said, a twist of fate. That's crazy. It's just as if, sorry, dude, that's the way you're going to die. Like, I can't imagine it happening twice, right? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wild. That's a bad neighborhood is what that is.
Oh, yeah, possibly.
A Southern California family, I don't know if you saw this story, wild. A Southern California family says a swarm of bees killed 3 of their 4 dogs. Oh my gosh. The family from Palmdale says all 4 dogs were stung hundreds of times. 3 of them died a short time later. Efforts to get them treated at an emergency veterinary clinic clearly failed. A 4th dog is in critical condition. The family has established a GoFundMe page to help pay for surgeries, pain management, and other treatments. So far, they've raised $2,000 of their $3,000 goal. But yeah, this is a swarm of bees from another house that just kind of came over and boom.
Yeah, they said they went next door to warn their neighbors, like, hey, and then one of the neighbors said, oh, that was our bees, they got out. And it's like, mofo, what the heck? Like, now I understand, obviously I doubt they stuck the bees on the dogs, right?
No.
But the girl, I was watching a news report, And she like was crying and tried to FaceTime her husband, boyfriend, whatever. I can't even imagine now. I know he ate all my cookies, but I love this dog, right? And I was like, I can't even imagine if they were swarming my pet. Like that is not to make a Halloween pun, but that's a horror story. Like that is awful. Those poor dogs, and you can't do anything. You
Turn
cannot
the
do
hose
anything.
on the whole lot of them. I mean,
Maybe
I don't know.
Exactly. And then do you go out there if they're swarming? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. My ass would be an idiot, and I'd probably freaking go out there and get stung myself. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. That's frightening.
It really is. California likely falling into a deeper budget shortfall than originally projected. When the tax filing deadline was extended into mid-October because of the impact of the winter storms, the State Department of Finance expected California would collect about $42 billion in tax revenue in October. The actual number is closer to $18 billion. Wait a minute.
Ooh, that's quite
they
a
thought 42.
decrease.
They only collected 18. The tax
What
filing
happened?
deadline was then pushed again to November 15th, further impacting collection estimates. In June, Governor Gavin Newsom projected a $14 billion budget shortfall in the next fiscal year. Now that number could be twice as large, prompting Newsom to call on the legislature to take action. So I don't know.
I get pushing back the tax filing. That means you don't get the money in right away.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really think we're going to close that nut just by people that pushed it back further? I don't think so. I don't think so.
More people may be packing up, leaving California.
Bye.
But there are two cities that are booming. Menifee, Menifee, Menifee in Riverside County, 17% population growth over the last 5 years. It ranks 9th on a new list of the fastest growing cities in the country. Leaders say young families are attracted to the shopping, the dining, and the entertainment amenities in Menifee. The financial tech company Smart Asset also put Placer County's Roseville in the 20th spot.
Oh, Roseville's not. I mean, Roseville's been on like on the list for a while. Menifee, it's a relatively, apparently, this is just my quick Google search. It's a relatively new city. I'm trying to like look. It's between, it's by Lake Elsinore. I've been there actually. It's in the Inland Empire, so you're going to be probably pretty hot in there. It's not too close to the beach, a little north of Temecula. All right. I mean, Menifee. I know nothing about it, but okay. It's down in Southern California. I'm not a SoCal girl. And I'm sorry, there's a difference. So not moving that far. Sorry.
Menifee. Here's a picture of Menifee. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think this is a rendering. I think this is an actual photo.
Okay.
And Menifee is kind of pretty.
I think that's a cartoon.
You think so? I think it's real.
I'm gonna Google more. Hold on. Menifee, California. Okay, so here's this whole Google AI bot thing is driving me freaking crazy. By the way, here I got a picture. So Menifee. I mean, it looks like a suburb to me.
Yeah,
it's nothing I'm gonna write home about, but
a little river running through the middle of it. You know,
I mean, it looks probably like a man-made pond, right? Oh, I'm in the wrong area. I'm not, there we go. Well, no, that's yours. There we go. Here's mine. Now,
take mine down.
It just looks like anything that you would personally fly over. I mean, there's Menifee. It looks like any other. I mean, there's the high, your picture makes those mountains back there look like, like you're in Hawaii and there's a volcano behind you. Like, that's what it looks like.
Okay, you can still see that river winding through the middle in the background.
That's man-made.
And the Southern California mountains in the background, Menifee.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I really don't think that there's a real river running through it. Oh, Menifee Lakes.
Okay, Lake Menifee. Look at that.
Menifee Lakes. It's right. Yeah. And there's trails and there's a country club. So, people must like it. There's Canyon Lake. And then there's Lake Elsinore. That's
S.J. Lola says the Inland Empire is a hellhole on so many levels.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily want to live over there. But here's the thing. This is the time to buy in Menifee. Because just as my parents bought in San Jose when it was nothing, right? But orchards and, all sorts of stuff, that this is the time to buy. Of course, for your house to be worth, tons of money. You'll have to wait a while. But yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So Menifee, big popular place. Last story here. A New York City doctor is paying for manipulating online reviews of his practice.
You know that's gonna happen. That happens way more common. Yes.
Attorney General Letitia James says Dr. Mark Mormon, M-O-H-R, Mormon, and his wife suppressed negative reviews of his practice, Highline Orthopedics, on a slew of different websites, including ZocDoc, Yelp, and Health Grades. The duo also admitted to posting fake positive reviews, turning to friends and family to leave reviews, while also hiring freelance writers to leave fake testimonials. Dr. Mormon is super great. He just took care of me so well.
That happens probably all of the time.
Never
he just
believe
got
what you
caught.
Could say. Right.
No, I mean, I take it for a grain of salt, these reviews. Come on.
As part of the settlement, Mormon has agreed to take down all fake reviews, which means there's like 3 left, which is, and pay $100,000 in penalties. Wow. Can't do that.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
No. And I always, what I read? I read like if it's 5 stars, I read the 3-star reviews, the middle ones. Because then it's like, okay. And that's really interesting. I wonder if what his 3-star fake reviews sound like. It's like, don't make it too good. Make it kind of like they had outdated magazines in the waiting room or some crap. I don't know.
Or they'll complain that the receptionist was busy and didn't take time to look me in the eye and smile.
Exactly. I don't know. That's hilarious.
This report is crowdfunded and sponsored by you. So we thank you for going to the Nikki Medoro Shotcom.
Shots.
We thank you for going to thenikkimedoro.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. I could say it right. I'm a professional over here.
Not the Nikki Medoro
Show. Is it? Oh, yes. Happy Halloween. thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link is there. The PayPal link is there. And we thank you for your support because we love hanging out with you and we want to keep doing this. So thank you for that. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Halloween edition of the Nikki Medoro Show.
And thank you to Lori who came in with a $20. I don't know. You're so generous, Lori. Lori above the bar.
Oh my goodness.
Happy Halloween. Thank you for your kind promo. Yeah. I'm telling you, Red Jack Saloon, it's such a fun bar to go to. And I know my bars, people. If I give a recommendation on a bar, because again, there are some bad bars. I am telling you, there are bars where it's too loud, takes too long to get a drink. Nobody wants that. You know what people, in my opinion, what people want when they want to go to a bar, you want a seat, you want a place to sit. Right. You want to be able to get a drink within a reasonable amount of time. You don't want to pay out the ass for like a basic cocktail or a beer, right? It's like, it should be reasonable.
Like a $20 glass of wine in San Francisco.
You know what else they allow? Which it's kind of unheard of. They allow you to bring food in, outside food, because they don't have food there, which is genius. And do you want to know why it's genius? Because when you allow people to eat at the bar, they stay and they drink more.
Yep.
And you want them to eat. You don't want them to get all hammered and then not, be able to handle it. Right. So yeah, exactly. Hold on. Chad says the Madison Bear Garden in Chico. Yes, the Bear. All right, that's what it was called, just the Bear. Again, I only spent 1 year in Chico. I love when people mention things to Chico. I remember the Bear. I remember there was this one frat house that was a square. I forget what it wasn't called the Cube. It was called something else. But yeah, there's a lot of great dive bars. You want to find a good dive bar. And if you're in San Francisco, that is the Red Jack. Okay, can we just laugh at something real funny? Did you talk about Governor Newsom in China?
Yes, we did, but go ahead, because
did you do the tackling?
Yeah, you can't. This can't be repeated too much, honestly.
I'm being mean. I am. This is just me, Halloween being mean. But I will add this: if it wasn't Newsom and it was Biden, what would we be saying? Right? What would we be saying? So this is Governor Newsom.
I don't think Biden would be out there trying to play rugby with the kids. Took a kid down.
Yeah, I took it. And then he smacks him and then he hugs him. I'm just all these things. I'm like, Biden would be like the predator, the child molester, the whatever, right?
All right, free throws.
You know how embarrassing that is. He had to be so embarrassed that he tackled that kid.
He knows at that moment this is everywhere. Because there's like, this is going to be all over every single website, all over the United States, everywhere.
Exactly. I just had to laugh about that. I know I missed it yesterday. I was like, I know they probably talked about it. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about AI.
You mean you didn't listen to the Nikki Medoro Show on your way home?
I was listening back and forth, but no, I do. I speed through it, but no, I was exhausted yesterday.
I'm
so sorry. So sorry.
I'm crushed
I'm
right
so
now.
sorry.
Crushed, I say.
Crushed. No, I do go back and I read the comments and everything like that too. So I do that. Let's talk about AI though. This also happened yesterday. I have less than 0% confidence that this Congress understands AI enough to legislate it, but they're going to try, which I give them props for. Okay. I really do. I know that they have young staffers that can explain things to them, but I'm going to play you a clip from President Biden talking about AI. You tell me, just how much do you want AI regulated? Because it's out there. We use it all the time. We use it all of the time. The generated, the chat bots, all sorts of things in different ways. It's not just Chat GPT. I know that gets all the headlines right now, but it's not just that. Here's President Biden.
It's already happening. AI devices are being used to deceive people. Deepfakes use AI-generated audio and video to smear reputations, spreads fake news, and commit fraud. With AI, fraudsters can take 3-second, and you all know this, 3-second recording of your voice. I've watched one of me on a couple times. I said, when the hell did I say that? But all kidding aside, it's already.
So, and it's funny because, he's like, I'm making a deep fake. When did I say that? That sort of thing. They want to do like watermarks, which I do agree with. Like, I think the page and the research or whatever for some sort of regulation of AI was like hundreds of pages long. I just don't know if they get it enough. I don't know if they appreciate how quickly the technology is moving. But I will say they should listen to wackadoos. I'm going to use that word and it's mean. I'm sorry. Like Elon Musk and other people within the tech industry that are saying, hold on. Like if they're saying that, and I've said this before, if they're saying this, then there's something there that we need to watch out for. But how do we do it? I mean, how do we regulate something like AI? So this is under the Defense Production Act. The order requires leading AI developers to share safety test results and other things to the government. They want safety rails, or pardon me, guardrails that would be fortified, of course, by legislation. Now, this is the initial step. Quote, it's meant to ensure that AI is trustworthy and helpful rather than deceptive and destructive. They can't even regulate social media. They can't even keep kids, right, safe online and on social media and like on Facebook. Freaking scary ass story from the Associated Press. The headline reads, AI generated child sex abuse images could flood the internet because of AI. There's a proliferation of child sex abuse images on the internet that could become much worse if something is not done to put controls on artificial intelligence tools that generate deep fake photos. That's frightening. I mean, think about creating an AI, and obviously there's sick people in this world. Don't get me wrong. If you look at child porn, you're sick. You're sick and you should go onto an island and never come out. But think about using AI and think about this. Is it against the law to create something out of nothing? If the child in the image doesn't exist, but is being abused, is that against the law?
I feel like on one hand, it shouldn't be, but
because
on the other
hand, it's not
hand,
real, right?
Because it's not real and there was no one harmed in the making of it. But that's not necessarily true, because that type of image, that type of thing can, I don't know, make it kind of okay.
Right.
And it's not okay and it's never okay.
Yes.
And so when you have that, then how do you tell the real from the fake?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people looking at this stuff and doing this stuff, and then that could lead to actual attacks on real children. And so,
or it could also, and I'm going to say this,
no.
it could also, and it grosses me out even to say these words.
Spur someone on.
Exactly. It could trigger something in somebody that
no,
all of a sudden they're like, it's kind of like pornography, right? You watch too much of it and you get a problem, right?
I don't think it's okay in any capacity. No.
Yeah. And I agree with you, Kim. I do not think that we should allow, even if it's an AI generated image. Okay, let me take it even a step further. What if it's a drawing? What if it's a realistic pen to paper or pencil to paper drawing of a child being abused?
I mean, and
I'm talking about legally. I wouldn't want to see it. I understand.
Thing turns my stomach, so I can't. I just can't condone any of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it just becomes, why do you want? And we were talking about the First Amendment and free speech and all sorts of things and our artistic license, right? All these things. I can't draw. Now my government is telling me that I can't draw a certain thing from my mind to a piece of paper. Okay, so it goes from my mind to a piece of paper to the computer. It's still not real. And this is the area in which makes me pause.
It proliferates the harming of someone else. Like the more, I don't know.
But it's not a real person, right? It's so difficult.
Anything you have that pushes this and makes it more widespread, makes it more likely that real people will be hurt. So I don't know. I don't know.
But these are the things that they're going to have to legislate. And that's why I raise it. Like if it's hard for us to even discuss it, right? Think about how hard it is to legislate it. Why is it illegal? Why is, and this is what the high court will have to debate if it goes all the way up to them. Why is a AI generated image out of thin air, right?
Yeah.
I created this of a not real person. Why is that illegal? We have to make the argument. And my argument would be, it's not good for human beings. It desensitizes them to something that is horrific, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that's really the argument that's made about violent video games. And what's the one, is it Grand Theft Auto, where women are sexually attacked,
like raped or whatever? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was trying not to say that word because I guess YouTube doesn't like us to say it.
Oh, sorry. Assaulted. Okay. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I said. The sexually assaulted in the video, but that, and then boys are seeing this, right? And then it becomes like something normal to them, or at a critical time in their sexual development, it kind of, that's what they're seeing and they think it's okay, or that's whatever. Yeah. And then so that can proliferate the real thing. And I think it's the same thing with drawings, any type of rendering of anyone being harmed.
Yeah.
It's a no-go for me.
It's a no-go for me too. I think, and again, because when we talk about social media and images and videos that just continue to flood, we cannot ignore the fact that we are animals in a way, right? I mean, our brains can be molded by the images and the experiences that we have. And we kind of give that up too many times to technology, to social media. And so even if we're not consciously looking for these things, if these images keep flashing by us, even if we don't like it, right? Like, oh, that's awful. The seeing of it does something to us, right? Now, Mr. 54 says murder in a movie is not real and therefore not a crime. The picture of which an AI generated scene is also not real, therefore not a crime. Morally wrong, yes, but not a crime. I will say this, unless we make it a crime. Exactly. We do have controls on saying no, because as people, and it's the same thing. I'll even throw this in, and I know you guys are going to hate this. Same thing with guns. Oh, we have a Second Amendment. We are also people that can change these rules. It is not set in stone. We can look at the repercussion of whatever law or lack of law there is, and then create something to protect ourselves.
If it's not working for us, we can change it.
It's not as
clearly
if we
it's not working for us, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll see where this goes. I'm so fascinated and scared by AI because I really, again, truly do not believe that we fully understand what it is going to do to us as a society, as a human being. That's what I think we just really underestimate.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's going to necessarily go to hell in a handbasket. Amazing things have come from technology, but I feel like the push against regulation will be our downfall. This idea that there needs to be carte blanche, widespread freedom with everything ignores the fact that we are people, that we all admit have mental health issues, right? As a society. Oh, there's a mental health crisis. Okay. So if we're all on the same page that we're messed up a little bit, let's do something about it. Let's do something about it.
I have to disagree with Chris, who says there has to be an injured party for there to be a crime.
And who says there's not, though? Who says that somebody hasn't seen that image and been injured?
What if I haven't registered my car? Crime. I'm charged with cited for a crime. I mean, you could argue that society as a whole is the injured party because I haven't paid my fair share.
Yeah.
But really, nobody has to be hurt for there to be a crime. A crime is whatever society deems to be a crime. And that could be, there could be a law that says no painting your house lime green. That's the law.
Right.
You can break it. So
Should be the law, but yeah.
Mama
says, Mama of 3 boys says, creating the images probably shouldn't be a crime. Selling or sharing those images should be. Interesting. That might actually be what actually happens, right? Like I can draw something in the privacy of my own home. Although if it's on your computer and you're caught in a crime, that could probably be used against you, right? So let's say you're a teacher, for instance, and you work with kids and you get in some sort of trouble and they grab your computer and then all these drawings or AI images you generated are on there. I think that could be used to kind of get into the psyche and for whatever crime you're alleged to have committed.
Heather says, I think it boils down to intent. Violence in movies, we know that's just for the story or whatever. AI generated abuse art or horror porn, however, has a wholly different purpose. Agreed.
Yeah. I agree. And
that's common sense. It's total common sense.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think I like the word of intent. Exactly.
Why do you have this? What are you doing with it? What's it for?
What is it doing to you? It's just, it's awful, awful, awful. So we'll see what comes from this apparent, paperwork, watchdog group.
Do you want your neighbor or your teacher or your whomever looking at drawing, creating that? Because if you know that's what turns them on, we got a problem, right?
Well, apparently in South Korea, a man was sentenced to, this is in other countries, obviously. South Korea, a man was sentenced in September to 2.5 years in prison for using artificial intelligence to create 360 virtual child abuse images. In some cases, kids are using tools on each other. In southwestern Spain, police are investigating teens' alleged use of a phone app to make their fully dressed schoolmates appear nude in photos.
No.
See, that's why we can't have nice things. See, this is why. And so that's what I'm saying. That's the problem with AI is that we, and it always is the case. The technology always moves faster than the laws to protect us. But we need to do something about this because it's moving awful quickly. I want to talk about a different crime, and can we switch gears? And it still has to do with children, and it has to do with children committing crimes. We talked about this. Was it Friday? We talked about the preschool teacher that was hit by the hit and run driver. We now know it's a 15-year-old kid. Stole the car, ran a red light. A friend of mine, son, actually had her as a teacher.
No.
Yeah, she posted a picture when they came out with her identity. She's 21, right? Something early 20s, was pregnant. They tried to save the baby and they couldn't. The baby died the next day. Here's my question. They're considering treating this. The teen's already facing hit and run, felony hit and run, but they're thinking of treating him as an adult for vehicular manslaughter. Do you think a 15-year-old who killed a pregnant woman and her unborn child, I guess born, but should be treated as an adult?
No.
My daughter is a year younger than this kid. Now, I'm not saying what he did was right. Obviously, it was the worst wrong he could do. A 15-year-old kid made a fatal mistake,
and then panicked and didn't know what to do. Should they pay for it? Yes.
What do you think the punishment should be?
No driver's license.
You killed somebody. You killed 2 people.
Yeah. No driver's license during your teenage years at all. Maybe even later. Right? No, I mean, I think that's fair to pay. And you're thinking, I think of her family and they're going to want some type of justice, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm also thinking of a woman who's gave her life to, or not her whole life, but who in her career decided that she wanted to work with children and help children. And
Yes.
I don't think that she would want a 15-year-old child's life to be forever ruined by this horrible incident.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
I don't know. It's a
and
hard
here,
one.
it's a hard one. And I hesitated to kind of bring this in because we're not going to know anything about the kid. The kid's underage unless he's treated as an adult. But I really hope that it's that children of different backgrounds and ethnicities and races are treated the same.
Yep.
Because we do know that kids that look a certain way get treated as adults more often than kids that look another way. And that's where my fear lies, is that if this was little Johnny, little white boy, oh, his life's going to be ruined, kind of like a Brock Turner-esque type of thing. Like, let's not ruin this kid's life versus, and I'm just going to say it, a brown or black kid who looks big for his age, but he's still 15 with a 15-year-old brain. That's my problem with it. I don't know. And I don't know the background of the kid. I'm just going out there that's my problem with treating kids as adults, is because our bias plays a role in how we view whether or not they should be punished more harshly. And that's why I don't like kids being charged as adults. I don't.
I think we'll go back to what Heather said earlier, and it's about intent. Did the kid look at me for whatever reason, not like me because of my religion, race, whatever, and hit me with a car on purpose?
Yeah.
Or was this a horrible accident? And is the child remorseful and saying, oh my God, I didn't mean to hit her. I'm so sorry. Because I would say that when you hurt someone, it stays with you forever.
Yeah.
This is almost more of a punishment than anything else, because through the rest of your life, you killed a person.
Yeah.
You killed a woman and she was 8 months pregnant. You killed. And so I don't know. I'm thinking if it was me and I was struck, I wouldn't, and it was an accident, I wouldn't want.
He stole the car. He ran the red light. Oh, go ahead. Bless you.
Sorry.
But he did steal the car on purpose. He did run the red light on purpose, probably to get away. So those two things were on purpose. Now, did he like, oh, let's look at that car. I hope there's a pregnant woman in there. I'm going to kill her. No, I don't think that's the case. Now, Vicky says his parents should be charged. And I do think there should be consequences. Now, do I think that parents should be thrown in jail for the crimes of their children? If it's blatant, like those parents that gave their mentally ill kid a gun, and then when they were called to pick their kids up, they didn't. Like, if there's actual wrongdoing involved with the parents, that's one thing. But in this case, did they know? Did they know that their kid was out, creating havoc? Or are they home? I don't also think it helps the situation to remove parents from a kid's life, and he might have siblings or what have you. So I don't want to make the situation worse, but I do want parents to watch their damn kids, and know where is your child? What are they doing? Louis says, how many 15-year-old kids do crazy adult things like stealing a car and driving reckless, trying to get away? I've never stolen a car. I've never been in a stolen car.
Yeah.
I have done reckless. I mean, I would say I've done reckless things as a kid, right? But nothing that's going to kill somebody. I would never do that. I've done, like pranks, as a kid, as a teenager, I totally did pranks as a kid, but never something that I knew was going to hurt somebody, or even a high probability that was going to hurt somebody. I've never done that. And
Wilma says a minor is just that, a minor. The brain is not developed. And you mentioned that this 15-year-old is just a year older than our 14-year-old daughters. And God love her. I love my kid, my daughter. I'm so proud of her, and she's so smart and amazing in so many respects, but sometimes she does the stupidest stuff.
Thing. Of course.
It's like, what are you even thinking? And then it's like, oh, she acts most of the time like this little mini grown-up, and she's not. And there are moments where it's so obvious that she's still she's got a lot to work through still. She's still growing up. We're still developing our common sense core. We're still doing, no, they're kids and they make rash decisions and they have impulse control issues and they're still trying to fit in. And there's all these things they're learning about themselves and they're in a different place in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to
Their
make
mind
excuses.
doesn't work the same way.
No.
But it doesn't. We can't ignore the science. Now, what do you think would be a good punishment? Like, obviously, the kid's going to face a fine. He probably is going to have his license removed. But I want something like you need to work with, people that have been impacted. Not this family, because I think that would just be terrible. Like
Horrible,
to have to see that. Yeah. But, go work with families that have been impacted by something similar. Understand what you did. To make that imprint on your very developing brain.
Go talk to high school kids at assemblies.
Or something. Yeah. I mean,
something.
it's just, although, and again.
Look at what I did that forever changed my life and this
sometimes I wonder
life.
if that crap even works, though. And I don't mean to say it's crap because it might work. But sometimes, like, teens talking to teens, yes, on one hand, I think that it does make more of an impact because they listen more to other teens than to the parents, right, to adults. On the other hand, sometimes I just wonder, you look at these kids with their undeveloped brain and you're like, are you even listening to anything?
Right.
Anything at all?
Well, and I think sometimes, have you ever had what is it? The DARE program where they'll take a wrecked, mangled DUI car where some kid died in a wreck and they'll dump the wreck on the high school lawn.
Yeah,
right.
And they'll have some students pretend that there was an accident and everything.
And everyone has to walk by it. And even then, kids are probably saying,
they're joking. They're taking pictures. They're laughing about it.
That'll
but I
never
do
happen
think,
to me. Yeah.
But and then you hear the terrible stories of like affluenza. These kids that like race. There was a recent one where the guy was going 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Killed a bunch of people. You want to scare them straight, like Aussie Rules is saying, like Scared Straight, that show. On one hand, on the other, I really do think the biggest, in my opinion, on kids, if you want to get them, is to get them kind of away from each other when you make that conversation, right? Because there's also the part of the brain that's always so conscious of who's looking at me, how am I being judged by my peers, blah, blah, blah. But if you take that kid out of it and you have them work with people that have been impacted directly, and there's no other kids, there's none of that kind of the pressure to be cool, maybe it'll help. I don't know, but we got to get through these kids. And again, a 15-year-old, maybe it is because my daughter is like right behind him. I can't imagine making that mistake on purpose. And I don't want to ruin somebody's life that just hasn't even started their life. You haven't even started your life. Yeah. And neither had that woman, neither had that young mom, her brain wasn't even fully developed. Think about that. Yeah, you know what I mean? True. Like, that's how tragic this whole entire story is neither of them had a chance to truly be what science says is an adult.
Yeah.
Ugh, it makes me so sad. It makes me so sad.
Awful.
All right.
I don't think that kid will, I don't know. What about a punishment like they take the driver's license away for the rest of your life? Like, you're just not a person.
Like, you'll never be able to drive again. I don't know.
You don't get a license. You don't get the privilege of having a driver's license in our society.
Maybe. But
no.
You
killed people.
I don't feel like it's the driving thing, though, that they needed to learn. I feel like it's the consequence thing. It's you made a bad choice, an impulsive, terrible choice. You happen to make it with this vehicle that can kill people when you drive it at a high rate of speed. I would want them to give back to society in some way instead of having something taken from them. Does that make sense? Like, you need to make amends.
Right.
You don't need to be constantly like, I think at some point the guy can drive, because then you're also saying he's not going to be able to have certain jobs. Like, it could be.
No, I think you lost the privilege. Okay. Would you rather? Let's play a game of would you rather. You're a 15-year-old Nikki Medoro. All right. You've just made this hideous decision, which has harmed someone else. You killed someone with your vehicle. Right. Would you rather be charged as an adult and serve 8 years in prison, or would you rather lose your driver's license for the rest of your life?
Well, of course, I'd rather lose my driver's license.
Done.
But let me do this then. Okay, let me do this. What do you think is going to make more of an impact on making sure that he doesn't obviously do it again, but helps others not do that again. I would say instead of that, obviously nobody wants prison, right? But if you're going to do it for the rest of your life, you have to be part of a program that talks to all of these people about what happened. You have to go into certain neighborhoods and talk with kids that might be running with the wrong kind of people. You have to do that for the rest of your life, because that is imprinted on you, and hopefully it will trickle down to other kids. That I feel like would have more of a positive impact than to take away somebody's driver's license. Does that make sense?
I want to say all of the above. No license, and also that.
Okay.
Give back and you can't drive. Because really, I mean, what does that take away from you? You can't drive? You figure it out. You'll find other ways to get around in this world.
Well, I mean, that is a harsh, I think you're underestimating how difficult life is when you can't drive. Like, it's really difficult.
Idiot.
Kim's
I don't feel bad.
Too bad.
You killed somebody. You killed someone. There should be a huge consequence for that. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, and we're too easy on people like that. And I know that it's a kid, but no, this is not something where you're put in prison, you meet the bad people in prison, and then you go into a life of crime and it affects your whole life and whatever.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. This is, you just can't drive. Boo hoo hoo.
Yeah.
It's called get on a bike.
Yep. Uber, bus, walk, bike. There are options.
Thank you.
True. Louis says, you kill people. You stole a car, equal hasta la vista, baby. You're assuming he has empathy and morals, not guaranteed.
It's true.
Again, though, it's a 15-year-old kid. Are we asking? And you know, and who said it? Grady says, more worried about the living kid, and that sucks to me. I don't subscribe to throwing away the key on someone of that age, right? I mean, if you're bad and you've been bad and you're an adult and you're still bad, you know, okay, maybe you should go to prison for the rest of your life. Talking about a kid here, I don't want to give up on a kid at 15, okay? And I do care, because when we stop caring about people that make terrible mistakes as children, we're just breeding a whole nother group of people that are forgotten and are going to find a way around it. Then they're still human beings. They still got to survive. And when society gets rid of you and says you're not worthy of forgiveness, you're not worthy of a second chance, what do you think they're going to go down a life of, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It benefits us to figure out what to do to make that person better, so that they don't do the terrible things that we want to do. Now, you know what? I can compromise and say, all right, you have to do the program and you don't get to drive anymore. I'm sorry, you had the harsh Judge Kim and she's taking away your license. And that's fine. I'm not going to, I will not fight that.
Harsh Judge Kim wants the kid to have a good life.
Yes.
Wants the kid to go to school and make something of yourself and you know, be a moral person who feels bad about it and goes to high schools and speaks to people and tries to make this not happen again. And, you know,
I was just saying I wasn't going to be the judge to take away the driver's license.
I will take away that driver's license, and boy, if I'm that kid's parent, I'm telling you, there's no license until.
But he would have to do the program for the rest of his life, and until he's 80 years old, he will have to talk about the fact that he took two lives. That baby was born, right? 2 lives when he was 15 years old, and he will have to repeat that story for the rest of his life. It will be part of his identity. It will be, and I think that's fair. I really do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you can live a great life without having a driver's license or the ability to drive.
I'm just saying it's difficult. Absolutely. There's people that don't drive. They can't drive. They have epilepsy or narcolepsy.
Or they've made the choice not to drive.
Not narcolepsy. I can't say it. But yeah, exactly. They can't drive. What's the one where you fall? Thank you. Okay. I was like narcolism. I was like, that's alcoholism.
Narcolism. That's when you fall asleep after you've been drinking. HBD. No.
I made up a whole different problem.
Narcolism.
Yeah. Narcolism. I'm like, that's not right.
That's funny.
Oh God. Okay. So yeah, I think that we're kind of on the same page, but we just gotta, we have to make things better for kids. Okay. I want to lighten things up just a little bit. So let's do a few headlines. And when we come back, I want to talk about this study. And I'm really curious and I feel like we discussed this before. Like this study comes out regularly, I feel like. And I feel like we did this when I was at KGO. There's a new UCLA teens and screens study, okay? And it found that of the 1,500 members of Gen Z that they surveyed, okay, And that means ages 10 to 24. So our kids, Kim, okay? Young people don't want to see sex on screen anymore.
Why?
Well, we'll get into that. But you tell me why you think Gen Z, again, age 10 to 24, which is quite an age range, okay? I mean, we're talking about preteen to adults, okay? But they're over seeing sex as a main story plot on their favorite TV shows and their favorite movies. And I'm really curious on why you guys think that may be. I mean, I'll tell you what the survey says, and where romance ranked in what they want to see. And what do you like to see? Like, I love me a rom-com. I love me a love story.
I mean, you know me, I'm a fan of Outlander. I want to see some good juice on that screen.
You know, there's the Bridgerton.
I want to see some hot loving.
But we're not Gen Z. Why do you think, and that's the question we'll go into why do you think that, I have a theory, and so you guys come up with your own. Why do you think that Gen Z is kind of like, I'd rather see platonic friendships, realistic relationships, nothing to do with sex? Why do you think Gen Z is kind of pushing away from that? Also, if we have time, what else would you pay for Facebook? They're coming out with this whole structure. I also have a theory about where that's going to lead as well. All right. Click the thumbs up button. Show your support for the show. The super chat is live. Thanks to Harry and Lori, who have already made donations to us. Here's some headlines, and then we'll talk about no sex for Gen Z on screen coming up.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Israel intensifying its ground invasion into the Gaza Strip. This is fighting between Israel and Hamas stretches into the fourth week now. Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said a ceasefire with Hamas would be a surrender for Israel. That's a no-go.
Yeah.
Challenges to keep former President Trump off 2 states' presidential ballots will be heard in court this week. This is the 14th Amendment case.
Yeah.
Yesterday, a trial over a lawsuit filed by a group in Colorado began. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Supreme Court will hear oral arguments this week on a similar case. What if they decide he is disqualified?
This is my question, though. He hasn't been convicted of it.
Ready to hear more about this.
But he hasn't been convicted of it yet, right? I mean, he's just going through the cases.
You don't have to be.
So just accused of insurrection?
If these hearings are heard and the judge says, yeah, look, insurrectionist, done.
But a judge has to say that, and that hasn't happened yet, unless I missed something.
No, that's why they have these hearings. But then, it's going to be challenged all the way to the Supreme Court.
Right. So can you be stopped from being on a ballot for something you're just accused of doing? I think that is the main crux of the argument here is, are we putting the believe me, he is. He is guilty. He is
guilty.
But I'm not the judge, right? Do we have to wait?
It? Some judge at a hearing in Colorado decides for the country, or who's the decision maker here? Who says, yep, insurrectionist?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that, the whole January 6th hearing trial thing needs to happen, come to a conclusion, and then... And a lot of you saying that I don't think there has to be a conviction yet. This is why I'm saying this. Look, he's guilty.
Legally, there doesn't have to be a conviction.
But this is my thing. Can it be used the other way? Like, that if we do one thing, someone else is going to try to exploit it and be like, well, now you can't be on the ballot for X, Y, and Z. Oh, you don't need a conviction. It doesn't need a conviction. Okay. That's my problem with it.
Right.
Is how will it be used in the future? And are we setting a precedent with something?
We are, because this is new. As they say, never seen anything like this before. There's never been a trial like this of a former president, not a trial, but a hearing or a decision that has to be made as to whether a former president is an insurrectionist.
Yeah, but I mean, like Eric says, what's to stop some far-right Secretary of State from yanking Biden from the ballot, deciding that the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden connection actually is there, and says,
that's not an insurrection.
That is true. That's what's in the Constitution. Okay.
It's not an insurrection. I mean,
there you go.
It has to be glaringly obvious that someone, was behind a plot to thwart the American government.
That's true.
I mean, you can't say that about anybody else, can you?
No, you actually can't.
So, okay.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I can't wait to see how this
All right,
plays
fine.
out.
Yank him from the ballot. Done. Okay.
He's off. He's out of there. The threat of terrorism in the United States has hit a whole other level following the Hamas attack on Israel. That is what the FBI director, Christopher Wray, said while testifying before a Senate panel today. He said most immediate concern right now that violent extremists will draw inspiration from the conflict in the Middle East and target Americans. So there's
so
fear.
frightening. Like, again, I always say this, I'm like, you have to focus on it. You have to be aware of what's going on. But if you do it too much, you're going to go out of your mind. I will honestly, sometimes I'm surprised to let my children out of the house. I do.
A House vote to expel New York Congressman George Santos could happen this week.
Good. Get him out.
Expelled.
He's a liar.
New York GOP House members say they may be near the 2/3 majority, which would be required to expel Santos following his arraignment on what's now a total of 23 fraud charges. Santos pleaded not guilty, says he's got no plans to resign.
You know, if he doesn't get expelled, then this is such a corner. Because on one hand, I was like, okay, people put up with Donald Trump because he was this character. He already had a reputation. He was Donald Trump when I get it. George Santos, who the hell is this guy? He's a freaking liar. Are we keeping every liar now? Like, nobody gets punishment for blatant freaking lying? Like,
yes.
Blatant lying, caught red-handed lying. And no, it's fine.
Yeah. And a crook. Like a liar and a crook who allegedly stole from his own donors.
Yeah,
right? Took the credit card information from his own people that supported him and gave money to his campaign, and allegedly turned around and made charges that were not consented to from the people that supported him in the first place.
Insane.
Please. Come on now. Okay. I don't know if you heard about this story. Well, I know you heard about this story, actually. A woman from Northern California, San Jose area, now facing charges for allegedly hosting parties for her teenage sons, providing alcohol, encouraging sex.
She was not a cool mom. She was a bad mom.
Bad mom. A Santa Clara County grand jury indicted Shannon O'Connor with 63 charges, including aiding and abetting sexual assault. According to court documents, on 6 occasions, O'Connor provided alcohol for her sons and their friends at her home in Los Gatos, then encouraged the boys to have sex with drunk girls who in some cases were unconscious. 17 alleged victims testified at the grand jury hearing, some as young as 14. At the time these parties were thrown, O'Connor remains in jail without bail.
How do you do something like that? Like,
She's not right in here. She's not right.
Yeah, like, it's sick. And we were talking about AI. This is bad. This is just as bad. You're sick in the head and you get off. It's just gross. It's gross. It's gross.
No. Yeah, she needs to go away. She's hurting people.
Exactly.
A worker is dead after falling 80 feet into a sugar silo.
Oh my God. So I was doing this story yesterday in San Francisco, and I love news writers, because there's always this one person that will include just one too many details that's just a little too graphic. It took like how many hours to get all of the remains out from the silo? It was just like,
okay, good. I'm glad you have that information. You can go ahead and add that to this story. This is a 53-year-old man who worked at a northern San Joaquin Valley plant in Tracy, California. It's unclear what led to him falling into the silo. First responders worked to rescue him, but he succumbed to his injuries by the time a rope could be lowered. Can you imagine being smothered by sugar? The plant, formerly owned by Holly Sugar, was recently sold to the Southern Minnesota Beet Sugar Cooperative. It's now known as the Spreckles Sugar Plant.
Well, apparently, just to let you know, just to make it even more graphic, it's not just that he fell into a vat of sugar. There's machinery down there. So something was moving, I think. If that makes sense.
What a horrible way to go.
Horrible way to go. I mean, and I'm not making light of it. That is horrible. Like, it's not one of these stories where at least he was doing what he loves. He was freaking working. You know how pissed I will be if I'm working and I die. Like, fudge. Like, I would be so mad. I'd be so mad. I don't even care. If I was doing this show right now and I got killed, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, no. I want to be like in my sleep, having sex, doing something.
You want to die during sex?
Well, whatever. At least I'm doing something I actually love. Jeez.
She went out doing what she loved.
Literally. I'm just saying, I don't want to be working. I don't want to be on the clock when I die. Although if I was died this show, that'd be really freaking interesting. But like, if somebody came in the radio station and like shot up the radio station,
that's
I'd
different.
be pissed.
Right?
I'd be I'm like, how dare you? I'm working. I am on the clock. This is not happening right now.
Shoot me when I'm off work, okay?
Well, at least doing something. I mean, if I was jumping from an airplane, I chose to do that, right? Like, I want to go out doing something I wanted to do, not friggin' working.
Another death. This one we talked about yesterday on the Nikki Medoro Show. Panera Bread is now displaying enhanced warnings about its caffeinated beverages after the death of a New Jersey college student. Jill and Michael Katz filed a wrongful death suit against Panera after their daughter Sarah died when she consumed Panera's charged lemonade. Yeah. The Penn student had a medical condition where high caffeine levels triggered life-threatening irregular heartbeats, and she went into cardiac arrest and she passed away after she drank the charged lemonade. Now they have to put signs up.
Okay, I'm glad about the signs. I think that if you have something that has something in it, like an extreme amount of caffeine or whatever, it should be disclosed because of health issues that people could have. On the other hand, I'm not blaming the victim, but at the same time, if you have this health issue and you see something that says charged on it, like, wouldn't it at least give you pause to ask, like, is there caffeine in this? How much caffeine is in it? And on a side note, kind of want to try it and see how much caffeine is in it. I'm just saying. I'm just like, is this really that caffeinated? But it's sad. Another sad story. Got a lot of doom and gloom on this Halloween.
Let's jump into Halloween stories, related stories.
Okay, now, are they death? Are they related to death?
No, I have a story about the price of candy and a story about the history of Halloween.
Okay,
so
good.
we're moving into different territory here.
Okay, good.
The cost of Halloween candy is up 13% this year.
Yeah,
Did you
know
notice?
that? Well, I did know. I only got one bag. That's all I'm getting. That's because my parents are getting more.
Yep.
I'm not getting any more candy.
That's according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor and UCLA supply chain experts. Candy is more expensive, they say, because of the rising costs of ingredients and labor. The average U.S. household is expected to spend about $35 on candy this year, up from $30 in years past. I paid $27 for one bag of candy,
yeah, I paid about
which
20,
was opened
22.
and partially consumed now. Please.
I put my candy in the fridge in our garage. So we have a fridge in the garage, and I just put it in there. And I told the kids, I'm like, don't open it. I mean, don't open the candy. Like, we need it. Like, this is the thing about Halloween. My kid, Dylan, the other day when I went to the grocery store and got those cookies, he comes out with like some sort of like sweet tart candy. And I was like, put that back. He's like, but I want to. I'm like, Halloween is in 2 days. Like, there's going to be plenty of candy. And again, I am not one. I don't limit because I don't feel like my kids need it, but I'm sure if you have a kid that does, like, obviously I get in arguments with my kid all the time about eat healthy, don't eat crap all the time. But I am totally of the belief that if you not limit, but you just don't let kids have candy at all, they're going to just gorge and make themselves sick.
I just got a message from Target. It said, buy one, get one off, 25% off Halloween trick-or-treat candy.
Yeah, but how many pieces? See, that's where they get you.
Yeah.
It's like, 50 pieces of candy. It's like, screw you. I need hundreds of pieces of candy.
I don't know how much candy. They want me to come buy it for 25% off, though.
And M&M's will deliver. M&M's will deliver candy to you.
Yeah.
So there's that. Oh, I got a picture of my daughter at Halloween. So I'll while you do this, I'll upload it.
The last story is about the history of Halloween.
Yes, please, because I just stop you right here. Did I tell you guys about how my friend was like, I don't know why Halloween can't always be on a Saturday? And I said, you can't do that because it's an actual holiday. Like, there's a reason it's October 31st into November 1st and 2nd. Like, go ahead.
Yeah. And we don't change it for convenience, but I do agree. As a mom, yes, thank you. Or at least always have the next day off of school.
Off of school and work, by the way. Just do
witches, black cats, and other images associated with Halloween have a story that goes back 2,000 years. The ancient Celtic fire festival called Samhain marked the close of harvest and the initiation of the winter season. It is believed to be a time when the souls of the dead can return to the earth.
Exactly.
Black cats became a symbol of the day because some believed souls could inhabit their bodies.
Yeah, see? Exactly.
The broomstick used by witches is symbolic of the magical powers of women because it's employed in the cleansing of ritual practices.
Ooh.
So a little history story for you guys.
Well, let's see if my computer's gonna like my daughter's Halloween picture. Yeah, no, but my friend was just so adamant. She's like, why can't they just change it? And I'm like, you can't. I'm like, it's like changing, even though we all know that Jesus wasn't born. I mean, you guys should know this if you do. I can't bring the picture up. I apologize. December 25th, but you don't change that day. Okay, you just don't change the day. And all of these things have to do with solstices and things like that. Like there's so much involved in it that just are desire to not have to wake up early the next day or anything like that really doesn't come into play. It just doesn't. Sorry, people.
It's something kind of fun in Petaluma that we have is we've got the Petaluma River, and a lot of people paddleboard and do what they do on the Petaluma River. And so every Halloween we have witches and warlocks on the river.
Ooh, that's
and this
fun.
is kind of fun where people dress up as witches, even if it's just a witch's hat, and they get out on their paddleboard or sometimes kayaks, and they go out, and there's all those, you can see the pointy hats headed down the river on the paddleboards.
I love it.
There's a group of them, witches on the river.
Oh, that's so fun. Have you ever done it?
I haven't, but I've gone down there to watch it, and it's kind of fun. And I usually I know one or two people. Yeah.
That looks
kind of a
like
fun thing.
See,
Yeah.
I was a little bummed. I mean, I wasn't invited to a Halloween party this year.
Oh, you're so unpopular.
I know. In all honesty, I probably couldn't have gone because most of them were on Saturday, right? This past Saturday. And I did have plans for my father-in-law's birthday, which I was totally stoked to do. Campbell does like the kind of zombie walk and crawl like they do things for little kids earlier, so it's not scarier than other scaries. I want to go through some haunted houses. I was walking my son to school this morning, and there was a sign about a haunted house in the neighborhood. So I try to make it to those, but like honestly, the day is so busy between like having to do the stuff with school, getting the costumes ready, making something to eat, getting over to my parents' house, what time do they start trick-or-treating now, like in your neighborhood?
I was invited to a gathering where the kids are going to start at 4:30 because it gets dark earlier now.
Yes.
And then they want kids to have dinner and not be out too late for school the next day.
Oh, so your kids do have school the next day. Dylan doesn't, so I'm okay with him. Marley does, and she's just gonna have to suck it up, Buttercup. Like, you know, you can have a piece of candy to get you going in the morning. I don't care, but you're going to school. So I hope but I looked at her calendar, and normally they put like assignments. There's literally nothing for tomorrow. You have nothing due today.
And teachers know.
And it should be an easy peasy day. So that's why I told him, like, you can't be absent, but you do have to. You have to go. I'm sorry. It's not a day off for you. It's not a day off for anybody. So, except your brother. So sorry about that. All right. Is that it? Or do you have something else you're going to show me?
That's it. Party over. I was trying to show you one more picture of the witches on the river because it's just kind of cool.
I love when communities do stuff like this, and you have to take part in it. Like, I just absolutely, and I love seeing the little kids in their costumes. I love seeing the dogs and the pets and everything in their costumes. See, that's cool. I would totally want to take part in that. I don't know if I would do stand-up paddleboarding since I've never done it, and I would probably fall in the water. Yes, I was trying to, David. I was trying to bring up the picture of my daughter. Yep, my husband just went to the grocery store. No orange ones. No orange soft cookies. Nugget, you ruined my whole plan. Friggin' dog. Ate all my cookies. All my cookies. But Marley is dressed as Princess Peach from Super Mario Brothers. So
I love that she dressed up, honestly, because it's sad when they stop. And I have Julia's being a fuddy-duddy this year, and this is her first time she hasn't really dressed up. So it's kind of a bummer.
Let's talk a little bit about the generation of our children, because it's not just that some of them don't want to dress up.
Look at all those witches.
They're really out there.
I know. I'm telling you.
They have a lot of confidence in their ability to not fall in the water.
Right? We mean business in Petaluma.
I'd be a little scared to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. Why don't a lot of Gen Zers want sex in their TV shows? So I've been telling you guys, I've been watching Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
I've gotten to where Dean and Rory are back together. That's how far I am. Okay. But also Lorelai and Luke are together. If anybody watched the show, it doesn't matter. Okay. But I will tell you this.
Satisfying when they got together the first time. You're like, I love that.
But that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it because Marley's watched the whole thing, so she knows what's coming. And so she just laughs at me every time I say, I'm like, I don't like this person. Finally, when Lorelai and Luke got together, I was like, friggin' finally. And then what was funny is because this is Gilmore Girls, you don't see anything, right? They just kiss and then they're in bed with no clothes on, right?
Right.
And that's enough for me. Like, I don't need to see him getting busy. This isn't Bridgerton or anything, but do I mind seeing that? Do I or Outlander or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't mind seeing it. I don't necessarily need it to be graphic, but because there's some Bridgerton, it got pretty, hot there. And I've never seen your Outlander. I don't know how hot it gets, but it gets pretty spicy on Bridgerton.
You need to, I'm telling you, will you just watch the show?
I will. I'll go from Gilmore Girls.
It's like the best show until that ever was made, and you haven't seen it.
Well, that's quite the statement there.
I stand by it wholly.
Really? Okay. But at the same time, like, do we need... So I was praising this, what I would call a teenage young adult show called Sex Education. And it does have a lot of sex in it. I mean, you see graphic things. And I'm talking like 17, 18, not like 13. Okay. But again, Sex Education, very graphic in what they show. Not porn, but sex. Like, kids are having sex, right? But Gen Z, according to this new UCLA study, are kind of like turned off by sex on screen. Gen Z, ages 10 to 24, found young people want to see platonic relationships between the on-screen characters, and many felt like sex wasn't necessary for the story plot, unlike me, who wants at least something to come to fruition, even if it is Gilmore Girls.
Right.
So they one co-author of the study said, while it's true teens want less sex on TV and movies, what the survey is really saying is teens want more and different kinds of relationships reflected. They wanted to reflect more of their own lives. 44% said romance is overused. 48% agreed sex is not needed for the plot. They want to see more friendships, more platonic relationships. 39% say they're especially interested in aromantic or asexual characters depicted in film and television.
That's the key right there, because we know that kids are different. They're relating to each other online.
Right.
There's I've seen stories where people are not ending up in relationships as much now because they're spending more time online, right? Their relationships are online relationships, which don't include the real physical nature of a relationship. And so it would make sense then that lifestyle would follow into what they want to see on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I will also say, and some of you were mentioning this earlier when I was teasing the story, they have these things that if they want to see graphic sex, they can. So they can get their fill if that's what they want. But I think they're looking for more than just that. Because I'll tell you this. I mean, I've seen great movies throughout my life. You know what I mean? There are probably the first one that comes to my mind of seeing a movie as a teenager where they showed people having sex and it's still like burned into my mind. Let's see if you guys can get it. Are you ready?
9.5 weeks.
No. Okay. Pool house, red bikini. Who's going to get it? It's a pool house and a red bikini, or like scenes from the movies. It's not like they're not together in the movies. But that movie is the first movie that I was like, oh my God, they're having sex. And it wasn't graphic as if you saw parts. Nope. Who's in it? Come on, guys. There has to be somebody.
Pool house red bikini.
They got it. James Watson.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. Yes. Phoebe Cates with the red bikini. Yeah. And then Jennifer Jason Leigh and what's his face in the pool house having sex.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, they're having sex. I was just like, it's one of those moments where I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this movie. Fast Times at Ridgemont High was definitely one of my first. And that was tame in comparison to what people are able to watch. And it's not TV. When I say TV, I mean streaming and things like that on TV nowadays. It's that, I mean, seeing Phoebe Cates' boobs was like, oh my God, right? And then the pool house scene, it's just the motion. You didn't see anything, but it it made quite the impact on me. And great movie, by the way, though. It still holds up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Mr.
and
Hond.
I mean, yeah, Sean Penn in that role as Spicoli.
Yeah.
Best movie. I mean,
Yeah.
really great movie. Kind of up there. But I will say also this, another great movie, and I'm just trying to go through it in my head, that had no graphic sex. I mean, kissing and making out, but nothing more than that still holds up, is Dazed and Confused. Dazed and Confused was a great movie. I mean, there was a lot of drug use, like pot smoking. But that was a really great movie. There's no sex. It was about friendship, right? The football team, making new friends, making friends with people of different, cliques and things like that. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Doug sitting in the drive-in and watching Fast Times at Ridgemont. Although they showed 50 Shades of Grey at the drive-ins too. I remember driving by and being like, okay, I guess we're just blasting these types of movies. But yeah, it doesn't really, it doesn't surprise me that Gen Z is kind of like, all right, already. Like, we got it. Sex is not as, I guess, surprising or impactful. Oh my God, I got to watch it. There's a boob scene, right? Like, those kids can see boobs if they want to see boobs, and it's not hard to find. So maybe it just doesn't resonate as much.
Every time I'm in a locker room or a ladies' restroom, I'm still looking around for the eye holes. Yes, Porky's.
Oh, Porky's. No, I'm sorry. The scene where she fills her fake boob with pea soup and pretends to vomit into the fountain, hands down one of the funniest scenes that I remember from Porky's. I have not seen Porky. You think about movies as a kid, and I watched that as a kid. Like, my parents, I love my parents, raised me great. They did not give an F about what I watched on television. It just did not matter. Like, they were like, yeah, whatever. Whatever. You want to watch Porky's? Fine. You want to watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Really? Oh,
Fine.
that was a no-no for me. I had to go babysit at the neighbor's house where they had HBO to see all that stuff. Yeah.
And I don't know what age I was. I was old enough. It's not as if there was pornography on my screen at 7. I don't want to make it seem like that, but we always had cable. Like, we always had cable. When we could have cable, we had cable. So that's all you need to know. We had it. So you could stay up late. But I'll say the scariest thing that I watched as a kid was the Thriller video. I remember watching that as a kid, and I was scared crapless. And I was a kid.
I watched Children of the Corn as a young teenager when I was babysitting. That was enough horror movie for me ever in my whole life. Brian makes a really good point and says, I can't think, but it's because most of the relations shown are traditional male-female. The kids are now very much in tune with their pronouns and who they are. Although, Brian, I would argue that more and more we're seeing, like in High School Musical and other Disney productions that are geared toward teens, we're seeing more and more relationships that aren't just traditional male-female.
Yeah. And again, I keep mentioning that sex education show on Netflix, Wild Graphic. They deal with all different types of relationships and identities, and they have someone that's asexual. And there's a whole scene in the last season where one of the characters, and he's kind of an auxiliary kind of side character, but definitely in a lot of the scenes. And you think that he is going to be in a relationship, and then you think that he's gay, and he's not. And when he comes to the realization, and how it's explained is really cool. And I think that those types of shows resonate with kids because they're like, that makes sense to me.
Does it make you feel bad for the kid that is asexual? I mean,
no, it was a moment of realization, and not to feel bad of being who you are, and that you don't have to feel things you don't feel, like, because and I don't know anyone that's asexual. At least I don't know that I know somebody that's asexual. Right. But the way they explained it on the show was you get joy and pleasure in different things. And for him, it was reading. Like, he loved getting lost in books. He always had a book on him, and he liked that world. And then when somebody liked him sexually and they kissed, no spoiler alert, sorry, he didn't feel anything when he felt like he should have. And then he met somebody that explained it to him in a way, and he's like, that's it, like that. And then that's the thing that I feel like people who knock pronouns and different types of sexuality don't understand, is that when you don't fit into the box that a lot of people do, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that you're on a different end of the gender sexuality spectrum. Like, and that's okay. And tell me what you are, and I will move on, and we'll still be friends or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really great show, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Gen Z is like, I'm gonna kind of turn away. This is the UCLA Teens and Screen Survey, and I feel like the last time we talked about it, some people were like, "Kids are exposed to too much sex." Well, maybe the kids are listening, and they're like, "You know what? I can get sex anywhere." Well, not physically, possibly, but
what?
They definitely see it anywhere I want to, and it's not so much. Okay, so Halloween is today. Are you going to do anything at the kids' school? Are you going to haunted houses? You're going to do the witch thing, I'm assuming.
I'm the room mom. So yesterday I left the Mark Thompson show early.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
I had to go to the party. And so we threw a great party with a witch's hat ring toss and decorate your own spooky cupcake. And yeah, so we had the party yesterday. And then today there was a little parade at the school. And then tonight we'll do trick-or-treating, and that's Halloween.
So they had a parade, so the kids were able to dress up. Your son, but no masks, so that's why. And then your daughter, no, in high school, no dressing up.
I'm still holding out hope that she'll go out tonight and hang out with buddies. But at this point, she hasn't found her high school group yet.
All right, well, let me see if I could show you this. I don't know if it's going to. So there's my daughter.
Yeah, I could see it.
She's supposed to, so she's going to have a pink tutu, tights, and gloves. So that's it's basically the crown and the t-shirt she's wearing right now, but that's Princess Peach. And one of her friends is it Daisy? I don't know. So they're going to be walking around.
She's got spirit, that girl.
Yeah. So she was this close to not wearing anything. I was so excited that she decided that when she slapped on the crown, I was like, yes, don't give up. The fun things. And they can dress up in high school. Yeah, they send it. You can't have the weapons or the mask or anything derogatory. And yeah, there's rules. I'm still waiting to hear.
Although he took his lightsaber to school today, Jacob.
Oh, well, I wonder if that counts. What color is it?
Blue.
Is it an aggressive one?
It's not a red. See. It's a blue.
Not, so we'll see. And of course, I will let you guys know if my Dylan, who's a cone, is going to with his cousins right there. See, that one would have been easier. We should have done that cone. I'm telling you, making this costume was a pain in the butt.
You guys are so good at it, though. Love that.
Yeah, we kind of have and it's all Dylan. I mean, my daughter's not difficult, but yeah. So we'll see. We shall see if he at least gets in the parade. I hope he gets in the parade. I would hope so. And if he wins again, I'll be here tomorrow to give a lot of praise, because then we'd be 3 for 3. We would be 3 for 3 if he wins again. Yeah. So I'll be stoked. Barbie, Barbie's going to be popular. Mm-hmm. Britney Spears costumes in Hollywood were really popular.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going as a cool mom. I might do the 3D spider on my face. That tutorial has been going around, so we'll see if I get a little creative with some makeup today. But we'll see. I don't know.
We have hats in my house. We have an octopus hat with like tentacles that light up,
right?
And a crab hat. One year the whole family was sea creatures, and an orca whale hat. So I might just wear a hat.
All right. Well, you guys, please email me any pictures from Halloween. We'll go over them tomorrow. I love Halloween. The Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. The Nikki Medoro Show. Send me your guys' costumes or haunted houses that you see. Murphy says, my 16-year-old is high school Glinda.
So cool.
Wants to wear my husband's Jack Skellington mask out tonight for Nightmare Before Christmas. Love it, Murphy.
Yeah.
Tell her to have some fun. All right, you guys, make sure you click the thumbs up button. The super chat is live. Let me say thank you again to Lori for the $20 donation and Harry for the $5 donation. And please, you guys, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com and sign up to become a Patreon subscriber. $1 a day if you can afford it. It's a one-time a month payment, and we really, really appreciate it. All right, happy Halloween. Everybody stay safe. Send me those pictures. We'll go over them tomorrow. Have a good one.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.